Hello and welcome to round 3 of Cyanide Super Formula Challenge. We will be racing here in the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal, a renowned venue for Formula 1 fans alike. And by God, do we have an excellent session here for you today. Unfortunately, I will be joined just by myself here, and I will have a lot of action called out to me by the owner of Cyanide, Danny Tutsui, who will be in the chat. But as the action gets on the way here in free practice session, quite a few drivers are making a mark for themselves already, with Roland Justin looking to try and make amends for last round and seeing if he can dominate. Nathan Older and Nick Shiren again trying to continue the success that they've had in previous round at Kota. And by God, what an exciting round did we have last round. There was action up and down the field, and what more could you ask on a race? It honestly beat the Formula 1 in almost every single metric. Currently 15 drivers out on the field, and we should be expecting around 18-ish drivers. So we are almost there in terms of the numbers. 16 now. So, Montreal, Canada, a Grand Prix, a special place for any Polish person, especially myself. This is where notable driver Robert Kubica had his horrifying crash, and a year later won his first and only Grand Prix victory in 2007 and 2008 respectively, and where he took the lead of the World Championship in Formula 1. How many crashes do I predict? I actually predict might be less than one could expect, I have a feeling. Unless people will be launching themselves into the chicane, which I do expect quite a few people. Game sound a little bit low. This would be probably why. Let's bring that up. Awesome. So I reckon quite a few people will make launches into that chicane at the last turn. And most of the people will end up going wide or crashing out before they reach the Wall of Champions. Let me know if any sound is too loud, too quiet. We have 4 minutes of practice remaining, and so far Ron Justin still remaining as the top driver. And that lap time has been made without using push to pass, as Johan Karolczak puts himself in P6. Now, these lap times are not representative by any means. These are drivers practicing racing against one another and putting themselves into the wall, it would seem, as we see lovely glitching textures. Indeed, let's hope nobody hits the wall, as unfortunately, like we had with Australia in Let Paul Racing last round, the Canadian mods, quality Canadian mods are, Montreal are lacking a little bit. Gap in the market. Regardless, it should still provide a very good racing surface. Let me just consult my notes on the current standings as the current situation in Cyanide, and it is Nathan Older currently sitting P2 in practice. That is the championship leader by a whopping 25 points from Nicolas Shiren, with Victor Bernard in P3, 6 points behind second place. Eastbrand Stopper, a driver who's been quite a favourite as Johan Karolczak goes P1. That was with push to pass, mind you. Eastbrand Stopper has been a favourite by many people who would know him to at least get a race win in this championship, or do extremely well and fight the top dogs. And we see Sean Fitzgerald representing yours truly, Let Paul Racing, in P6 at the moment, sporting the 79 of Sarah Milfetova. I would try, but I cannot unfortunately move the the timer. I would have loved to put it in the middle. It's fine where it is. Also, thank you for Victor and Danny for providing the lovely graphics that you guys have seen for the intro sequence and the practice round 3 at Gilles Villeneuve. They definitely add quite charm to our to the stream quality. Right, minute 20 left of the practice session. So while the drivers are ending their laps and some are starting the final flying laps, let us go ahead and see what a extremely fast qualifying pace lap is around Montreal. Lap which has been provided by the current P1 sitter, Johan Karolczak, in the practice session. So let's ride on board with Johan Karolczak currently.
Okay, so
driving,
here we go for
coming out
lap
of the
around Circuit
Wall of
Villeneuve.
Champions chicane down the
We're
main
on
straight.
the start
And your
finish
lap time
straight
pretty
and
much
the lap starts
right
now.
here. Heavy braking
First
into
corner,
turn 1,
braking,
little
try not
bit
to go too deep.
awkward as it's there's a
Don't exit
slight
wide.
kink in
You
it
want to maximize traction.
and could put drivers off, especially when they're attempting to make a move.
Down one gear, maximizing space available. Almost hugging, touching the walls. Here we brake a bit early, don't go too deep. Exit tight here for traction. We're on the first back straight. Medium braking under the bridge, limit of front grip. It's easy to mess up here and fly over the curbs. So we have the hairpin next. Brake at the optimal moment. Have a late apex. And definitely not like I did. So now we are on the long main straight. We reach almost 285 kph at the end. Medium braking, calculated amount of curb, avoiding crashing into the Wall of Champions. And that's a lap.
So that has been a lap of Montreal as explained to you by one of the drivers. Currently driver sitting P2 in the practice standings, and it looks like Roland Justin has beaten Johan by less than a tenth to P1. But now will come the qualifying session, and with 15 drivers on the field, there will be quite the bunch trying to get the top spot, the coveted top spot, starting from pole position, giving you the best drive or the best chances of getting away and avoiding any carnage. The first spot and the last spot, both equally as good at avoiding any carnage that might arise. Hopefully none will happen. Let's chime in on let's see if there's any chatter amongst the drivers, and the comms are quiet. Very surprising, actually. A lot of times at the end of practice sessions there would be a chatter amongst the drivers at the end of any session. Very quiet this time around. Roland indeed is looking very good, poised. Not sure whether that lap was with push to pass or not. A lot of drivers behind, such as Nathan Older and Shiren, I believe it's Nathan, Nathan and Nicholas Shiren, have done the laps without the use of push to pass. And we know Johan Karolczak did use a push to pass at some point during the practice session. And the push to pass is nothing to sneeze at. It gives you quite the amount of horsepower to get you by your opponent, hence the push to pass. Indeed, no push to pass in quali, so we will see if what the drivers can do on the optimum pace without any fancy gizmos such as push to pass, and their drivers will show the true prowess. It will be just them and the car. And 14 other drivers trying to find space amongst the chaos. So treat this as Q2 session on any Formula 1. As we see driver number 16 joining us. And we will be moving on to quali very shortly. So, anybody in the chat, who do you think is going to take the pole position for race number 1? I have a feeling it's going to be a battle between the top 3, Nathan Older, Johan Karolczak and Roland Justin. Although I wouldn't discount Sean Fitzgerald. He is a, I'd say, very experienced driver when it comes to super formulas and has taken many wins with Assetto Formula Racing. We have money on Roland. Nathan Older looks very fast as well. Indeed, there is a. It's shaping up to be quite the good round here at Canada. We have P1 to P7 within 1 second of one another, and further down we have P8 down to P12 within another second. So relatively close together. The field is. Or you can see the two main groups emerging. Let's take a look at what I am driving here today. So we have Juan Gramage, another driver not to be discounted, out on track first. Oh, we have a qualifying ban from Rinka Shikimo, so that will reduce the amount of drivers qualifying by 1, as we see Juan for Red Bull Castro HRC. Is Tuki Gonzalez the GOAT? We will see. We will see what Tuki can do. We see drivers bunching themselves up. What a lovely camera angle that was. And Danny, would you like to explain why the driver has a qualifying ban? So, let's go drive on board with Juan Gramage and let's see what the Spaniard can do with the wonderful front wing camera. And this is my absolute favorite camera view for these Formula cars. Heavy braking into turn 1. Ooh, runs a little bit wide on the exit of turn number 2. Not the line that he would prefer. And into turn 3 for chicane. Ooh, very tentative on the throttle. Oh, but runs very wide through the following section of corners. That's going to cost him quite a lot of time. And it might frustrate the driver behind, Johan Karolczak, who is on most likely quite the fast lap time. In fact, if we switch, very tentative of the sausage curbs. Johan Karolczak using way more curb than he probably wanted, ending up in the wall. Relieving any pressure that Juan had. And it doesn't look like the crash has impeded anybody behind, unless Roland Justin had his own spin. Oh. There we go. Oh, and here we have the first touch with the Wall of Champions. Juan Gramage on the exit on his hot lap sets a 120.6. We already have 2 seconds down on the fastest lap time in the practice session, including Roland Justin, who's 1 second down on his personal best in practice session. So let's see what the, if I'm not mistaken, Hungarian driver can do on his second attempt. We see quite a few other drivers making their way around, and we see Roland Justin with a little bit of a mistake, a mishap. Had to pull away, and we have a few more crashes around the track. We have Juan Gramage. We can see the remaining smoke of that. Thank you again for the cameras. Of the incident that Juan was involved in. And if I'm not mistaken, was Whomst ran themselves into that wall in the 2023 Canadian Grand Prix? No sector to split time for Sean. Oh, indeed, we do have sector to split time, and it is 2.5 tenths faster than the absolute fastest lap time thus far. What can Sean do on the final chicane? 1:19.1 might not be fast enough to dislodge the faster drivers that will be coming through. Such as Nicolas Chiron, who is down on his personal best and seems to be just warming up their tires. So let's pick a driver who might be on a fast lap. It's not Victor Bernard, he is on an outlap still. And quite a few drivers might be on their outlap. And there's Nicolas Chiron with a banker lap of 1:23.1. Let's go back to Chiron, as I believe Johan Karolczak might be on the outlap. Heavy into turn number 5-6, I believe. Yep. Nicolas Chiron is setting the fastest first sector with a 29.56, 2.5 tenths down on his on the absolute fastest lap time set by Sean Fitzgerald. So Sean's gonna have to pull something magical out of his bag if Nicolas can complete this lap time without exceeding track limits. Running a little bit wide through the hairpin and the scene of horrifying crash of Kubica in 2007. Down the main straight, this will be one of the main overtaking opportunities. Nathan Older sets a 1:18.5, demoting Nicolas Chiron to 3 tenths down on Nathan, but himself says the fastest last sector and puts himself 1:18.8, giving him second position. Sean Fitzgerald has the Spanish Juan Gramage with Red Bull liveried in front of him. Oops. So what can Sean do? He's got quite a nice tow from Juan. Still half a second down on the fastest lap time, pulls into the pits. Indeed, Nathan is going even faster by a tenth. What can the maestro do? Oda setting himself up to be completely dominating this championship. Especially after his display at Kota, he could be very well be the favorite. Ooh, clobbering the curbs, somehow maintaining the speed and the control of the car. Will that hurt his lap time in the final sector? Not at all. He improves to 1:18.4, really setting up the benchmark. And yeah, as I was saying, Nathan Older could very well become the favorite to win the championship. As we see Johan Karolczak starting another lap time, not doing too well on the previous one, losing a lot of time in the first sector. Now Johan is coming from almost kissing the wall, coming from a round in the Ledpro Racing's Championship Prague World Tour, from a relatively bad result, as he would say himself. 6.5 tenths now in the first sector. Oof. Personal best, but there's still a lot more that the Frenchman can give. And the scruffy chicane not helping him at all. And it seems to be like Montreal is just a track filled with chicanes, which is probably why I'm not the biggest fan of it. Or the fan of driving very loose on the exit of the hairpin. Straight chicane, straight chicane, straight chicane. Mind you, there were more chicanes throughout the earlier. Yeah, not a great mod. That is very true as well. As you are clobbering the curbs around the wall of champions. And Johan not improving his lap time. He has one more try to improve his lap time as Sean Fitzgerald puts in a personal best first sector, only 10.5 down on the absolute fastest lap time set by Nathan Older. Can we get better cameras, please, mod? As we can see the mod quality with these cameras. Oh, Nathan Older using as much track as, well, feasibly permissible. Let's see if it pays off for him. And we see top 3 in the pits where they will not set another lap time. So Fitzgerald has the chance to put himself well within top 3. And in fact sets the fastest last sector, puts himself second on the grid. A good effort to dislodge Nicolas Chiron from second place and put himself alongside the championship leader. The championship leader? I've already forgot. Yes, the championship leader, Nathan Older. Who else is on a fast lap? It's Johan Karolczyk with a much better first sector and middle sector. Puts himself P7, 1.1 seconds behind Nathan Older. And Juan Gramage not improving in the first sector. And the sector lap times around this track are very, very weird. The way they've been set up. I don't think it corresponds to the real track at all, unless I am mistaken. But as Juan rounds the final corner, what can the Spaniard do? And it's a small improvement of 120.109, but unfortunately stays just outside of top 10, 3 tenths behind his compatriot from Spain, Victor Bernat. And that is your qualifying over, very much so. So on pole position we have Nathan Older for Team Kemet Racing, powered by Mercedes. Alongside him lines up Eastbrand Stopper. We have completely missed Eastbrand dislodging Sean from the first row of the grid, positioning himself second, with Sean Fitzgerald, like we mentioned, dislodged to P3, representing Leadpaw Racing. Nicolas Chiron has to be satisfied with a P4. Very good lap time and bodes well for the race. I'm already on it. Following the Arrows team is Roland Justin, just ahead of his teammate Tuki Gonzalez in P6. Johan has to be satisfied with P7, lining up alongside Ollie Mobbs in P8. Michał Siedlecki with the lovely striking livery for BMW Sauber lines up P9 alongside Victor Bernat in P10. Juan Gramage takes P11 with Shaikh P12. Artem Bielavstvev, I'm completely butchered that, takes P13 with Francesco Livraghi P14. Zipstar takes 15 with Rinka Shimo taking the final grid spot. And we will have one more driver coming very late, missing the qualifying session. So they will be lining up last most likely. We do have a few drivers on the comms saying about the quality of the mod. Some drivers not enjoying the combination at Montreal. But regardless of opinions, one driver is definitely extremely happy, and that will be Nathan Older, starting first on the grid, hoping to be able to get away from any carnage that may ensue, and we are hoping non-carnage ensures and no need for race restarts will be needed, or any need will not be needed, I suppose. English is an annoying language and I have zero respect for it. And we have the countdown, 1 minute 40 countdown to race 1. And we can see the grid powered by AWS. Everything here is powered by AWS. Nathan Older lining up P1. Followed by, there's going to be 17 other drivers once the final driver comes in. And unfortunately, it looks like Rinkan Shikimo has been put behind both of the commentating cars, so he will be starting a few grids behind, which could play to how do you remove yourself? You have to wait until the countdown starts, or after it starts, then you can hit escape, return to pits. I will send you a link to a mod that automatically puts you to pits for such stuff like that. Yeah, there's a mod for that. I will send it to you after this race. Part of the broadcasting system that the lovely folks of Assetto Corsa modding community have come up with. And my god, what a wonderful community Assetto Corsa is. As we see 6 lights warning coming on. And soon enough, those 6 empty lights will fill out. We are currently at 5, 6. And as the lights go out, away they go. 17 drivers, somebody just making it onto the grid after the lights have gone out. Down into turn 1 we go. Whoops. And it looks like most drivers... Oh, a little bit of a contact at the back. We see a little bit of carnage for the last 3 placed drivers. Usually the last drivers are the ones that are able to avoid contact, but not this time it seems. And Nathan Older gets a fantastic getaway, and Ollie Mobs losing out to Victor Benner. Victor Benner having a blisteringly fast, good getaway even, putting himself up to P7 already. With Johan Karolczak losing out on the race start, plummeting down to 10th place. Oh, as we see Juan Gramage having to take to an escape road, surrendering that place back to the Frenchman. Back with Roland Justin, under pressure from Nicolas Shirin. Tuki Gonzalez making up a few spots, going past his teammate up to 4th place. So Tuki Gonzalez, driver on the move from his position, qualifying position. And will Francesco go for the dive? He's thinking about it, thinks better of it, probably way for the better. And we see a free wide moment down the main straight between Victor Bernard, Ollie Mobs, and Johan Karolczak. Johan will probably want to regain his qualifying position. Ollie Mobs on the offensive, manages to get by Victor briefly, but can the Spaniard out drag him to the next corner? But unfortunately we'll have to back out. The way these corners are set up, and Victor Bernard spins. As I was saying, Victor Bernard would have to, and we have a contact. Quite the massive pile-up of cars here. How many involved? Victor Bernard back in the pits. Juan is involved as well. The race just not going his way. Victor Bernard, after such a wonderful start, is unfortunately pretty much out of contention for any good finishing positions unless you have another massive collision between drivers. All of this will be great news for Johan Karolczak, with whom Johan has formed quite a close rivalry in the Praga Road Tour in Letpo Racing. It's already on lap 2, so no. Ooh, nip and touch between Ollie Mobs and Johan Karolczak. Ollie Mobs probably should have backed out of that way earlier. It just cost both of the drivers some much needed time as Tuki Gonzalez swapped places with Roland Justin back to P5. And we can see drivers already making the use of push to pass. Some of them already using 2 of them, and some drivers like Sean Fitzgerald and Nicholas Shiren saving up the push to passes for later down the race. And this is where the strategy with push to pass will be coming in. Do you use them earlier to build yourself a gap and then manage your tires and use the tire advantage you would have at the end of the race by pulling out a gap and saving the tires? Or do you save your push to passes at the end using your tires at the start and then making up towards the end? I mean, it seems like with such a tight field, a lot of drivers are using their push to passes more sparingly or 1 per lap. Oh, as Tuki Gonzalez makes a little mistake, Nicholas Shiren breezes on by. Oh, no game audio. There we go. Where was I? Ah, yes, Tuki Gonzalez makes a mistake, exploited by Nicholas Shiren to put himself into top 5 spot. The top 3 currently evenly matched, 1 second from one another, with Sean Fitzgerald closing in slightly on Eastbrand. Eastbrand must have made a small mistake, a little twitch at this stage, or with this amount of talent in the field, will open up the gap or close the gap up very quickly. And we see the 2 teammates of Imran Shaikh and Jipstar battling for final points paying position. A little bit of a sideways action as Zipstar goes very deep into the chicane, spinning himself out on the exit, and that would give a free position for the recovering Juan Gramage, who was involved in a very unfortunate incident. And it looks like Isbrand has made a mistake of his own and puts him well under pressure from Sean Fitzgerald. Sean keeping nice and tidy. Has the inside for the following chicane, and that will be moved on, dusted, but Eastbrand tries to stick it around the outside of the chicane, manages to stay within Sean. Somehow not ending up in a massive collision, but Sean just able to still make do with the space he was given and pull ahead of Eastbrand. However, all of that battling between the two. Oh, Eastbrand was looking down the inside of Sean into the chicane. Oh, and there's a massive tank slapper for Eastbrand, which also, ooh, little bit of Roland Justin, classic case of driver not holding it brakes. At least that's from it looks like. But massive tank slapper from, who was it? It was Eastbrand stopper. Eastbrand stopper has led to a collision for Roland Justin, completely ruining his race at this stage, with Eastbrand retaking P3 from Tuki Gonzalez. Eastbrand escaping relatively sound from what could have been a race-ending mistake. And Tuki was thinking of a move into turn 1, but the awkward kink really limits the amount of lines you can take as an overtake into that corner. But Roland Justin, a driver who has been plagued by misfortune in quite a few series that he races in. The results definitely not reflecting the drives that he is capable of. Has been hit once again in this race 1 of Canada. So we'll stay aboard with Tuki Gonzalez as he battles for P4, but Isbrand Stopper quickly regaining his rhythm, or regaining his rhythm enough to be able to put a gap from the IPK Arrow Autosport driver. When we see Rinkan Shimo slow on the exit, not what you really want to do. You don't really want to stop to let drivers by unless you are retiring for a reason. Dangerous place to leave a car. Yep, you really don't want to be stopping a car. You might want to let cars by, but let me tell you, stopping a car can be more dangerous than just driving at your pace, especially on the racing line. Tuki Gonzalez, however, been able to catch 3/10 in the final sectors of the racetrack. And who do we have here in top 5? Johan Karolczak completely exploiting the chaos that has happened ahead of him to put himself into top 5. And we see a little bit of, if I'm not mistaken, ACTV quirks with live timings. Imran Shaikh, in fact, is not where he is. In fact, Imran is 10th in the standings, which has been corrected itself right now. So, we currently have 3 drivers in the pits as a result of the opening lap shenanigans. We have Victor Bernard, Kaiser Alexandrov, or Caesar, and Francesco Livraghi. Oh, and we see Isbrand Stopper. What happened as I was looking at live timings? This is going to be a race ending for Isbrand Stopper. That was a serious crash, and I can only suspect that was a touch with the Wall of Champions. And a very, very awful ending for the Dutch driver. So as we take a little bit breather from, well, trying to process, I am not sure whether he used return to back feature or he could be just being teleported back by the server. Johan Karolczak, all of that has now promoted Johan to P4, and Tuki Gonzalez occupies now the final podium place. This seems to be a race of high attrition by with already a 4th driver coming or being removed from the race through one reason or another. Johan, with a push to pass in hand, has the advantage and has been closing up onto the back of the IPK Arrow Autosport driver, and will be thinking about that podium space. And, well, looking at the qualifying results, not sure whether he was expecting the podium to come his way. We still have 8.5 minutes of the race remaining, so anything can still happen. We have still quite a few drivers down further where they should be. We have Roland Justin in P7, Nicholas Shiren in P8, although Shiren very much down on push to passes, with Justin saving up 8 of them, which will allow him just to spam them one a minute and still be able to take it to the end. I see both Johan and Tuki using their push to passes, but Johan Karolczak quickly gaining onto the back of Tuki. Now having also the added benefit of a slipstream, he will try and prioritize the exit of the chicane, but we have seen throughout qualifying that Johan was struggling with the Wall of Champions chicane, and that has allowed Tuki to just nip away from the slipstream range. However, Johan kept very tidy line through the, regaining whatever he lost through the Wall of Champions chicane. And as we ride on board, it seems that Johan is struggling in the chicanes of the track, as we can see whiff of oversteer on the exit of turn number 5. Still able to close the gap to the driver up ahead. But again, when it comes to the chicanes on the entry, it's where Johan seems to lose the most amount of time. And again, a little bit of wheel spin on the back will have, well, stunted the chance that Johan had of a move down into the wall of champion chicane. And again, we can see Johan just struggles through that chicane. He just doesn't have the setup where he feels comfortable enough to take that chicane with a full attack power. Ooh, going very wide through the turn 1, missing the apex and costing himself a lot of time, giving Tuki just that little bit of respite. You see a little bit of movement up and down the field. There's a battle for 6th place at the moment between Roland, Shedletsky, Sharon, and as Shedletsky has a spin, knocking himself out of the fight for the 6th place. Roland Justin back to P6, a good recovery drive considering the impact that he was involved in at the start of the race. Still under pressure from the Polish team track Titan. And it looks like, no, doesn't seem to be making any inroads on Ollie Mobs. Not enough to be able to catch him by the end of the race. I don't think Ollie Mobs doing just enough to retain the 5th place on the track. So 5 minutes left, and the sit rep is Nathan Oldas leading from well, the flag dropping or the lights out to 15 minutes into the race. Sean Fitzgerald getting past his rival Isbrand Stoppa. Isbrand Stoppa unfortunately being relegated from the race or the top paying positions after the unfortunate incident that has befallen him into the wall of champion chicane. And as a result, Sean Fisher occupies 2nd place with Tuki Gonzalez under pressure from Johan Karolczak occupies the final podium paying position. Ollie Mobs has 5th place, but Roland Justin seems to have found an answer and groove to catch Ollie Mobs by 1.5 seconds this lap alone. Ollie Mobs most likely making a mistake and knocking himself out of the rhythm. Once a driver gets knocked out of the rhythm in a heat of the race, it could be difficult to get back into it. And we have seen this before in many occasions. Last round we've seen Juniper Makova get herself knocked out of the rhythm and quickly dropping out of the leading positions. At Kota we've seen it before in Letpor racing, with many drivers making a mistake and just not able to get back into the rhythm. Even top drivers such as Johan, who usually dominate those series, or Victor Bernard. Three more laps remaining, or at least that's what my calculations will lead me to believe. 3 laps remaining, and we have 2 main battles emerging. A battle for the top 5 spot, where Roland Justin is now under a second behind Ollie Mobs, and this is just a matter of when, not if, Roland Justin can get by the English driver. Especially since Roland has 2 extra push to passes than everyone around him. Nicholas Shiren just having a single one left, and we can see the same for the battle for final podium space. Johan Karolczak has 1 more push to pass as Roland makes his way by Ollie Mobs. Ollie Mobs choosing to save his push to pass and try to attack. As we see another driver into the wall. Who is that? That's Isbrand Stopper again into the wall. After the Wall of Champions. 2 laps remaining and Johan is closer than ever behind Tuki Gonzalez. Tuki putting up a very good fight against the fast charging Frenchman. ACTV timings is having a little bit of an issue again, and now Nicholas Shirin is on the attack against Ollie Mobs. Camera please. Ollie Mobs keeping to the inside into the chicane, preventing the track titan driver of a pass, but finds the space needed to dive down the inside of Ollie Mobs. Can he get the drive? In fact, he can't get the drive, as Johan Karolczak now gets by Tuki Gonzalez down the main straight, has the final points podium place, and we see Juan Gramage with a wee bit of spin as Ollie Mobs tried to retake P6 from Nicholas Shirin, but ends up losing control. And Tuki Gonzalez is now on the back foot. The final lap of the race is this one, I believe, depending where Nathan Oda is in relevance to the pack we are witnessing right now. But Johan Karolczak with we see Johan Karolczak has an extra push to pass that will allow him to pull away on the straight, and Tuki Gonzalez will have unfortunately no way to answer that, especially since Tuki is now outside of the slipstream range. So as we see Nathan Oda, we will get one more lap of racing, and we can see the push to pass working. Johan Karolczak making up half a second, 6/10, almost 7/10. Push to pass is worth about 7/10 down the back straight, and almost a full second on Tuki Gonzalez, putting himself well outside of any attack range from the IPK Arrows driver. Yeah, look at that, it was almost a full second lap faster that time around. So we're now on the final lap of the race. Nathan Oda can take it very much easy. Sean Fitzgerald can take it easy as well. In all honesty, probably Johan Karolczak will take it easier as well, just to make sure he is not foul of any self-inflicted skill issues. Tuki Gonzalez might think there is still a chance if he can sense Johan relaxing, so he can afford to take a little bit more risks. He has got a 6-second cushion to P5, so little left to lose. But let's ride aboard with most deserving winner of race 1, Nathan Oda, taking the flag on the start-finish straight. What a drive. Did not put a single foot wrong. Nathan Oda wins the first round here at Canadian Grand Prix, with Sean Fitzgerald taking home the fastest lap and second place. Johan Karolczak, through all trials and tribulation, takes home a P3, a result he was not likely expecting, taking away from Tuki Gonzalez in P4. Roland Juster comes on P5, a good recovery drive after the trials and tribulations of the opening laps of the race, with Ollie Mobs taking home P7. Nicholas Shirin takes home P6. Michał Szydlecki will come through in P8. Imran Shaikh in a good P9 position, with Juan Gramage, another driver who has been in quite a few incidents, some self-inflicted, some just bad time, bad place, will come across the line in 10th place. Artem Bielitstev takes home P11. P12 will go to Zipstar. Rinkan Shikimo will take P13, and unfortunately all the drivers that were hit with incidents earlier on in the race have been DNF'd, and that is Isbrand Stoppa, Francesco Livraghi, Victor Bernard, and Cesar Alexandrov. So, correct me if I'm wrong, it is the top 10 grid spot reversed. So Juan Gramage will take the pole position for race number 2, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Juan who took pole position in last round, or was it Juniper that took pole position in the last round as well? It was 2 weeks ago. But Juan Gramage will take reverse grid pole position alongside Imran Shaikh in P2. Shidletsky and Mobs will share 3 and 4, with Shirin 5 and Justin 6. Pretty much staying in their grid spots, they are just one ahead of another. Tuki Gonzalez 7th with P8 for Johan Karolczak, 9 and 10, Sean Fitzgerald and Nathan Older, race 1 winner. Hope you have enjoyed this race 1. It has provided some very good racing and quite a lot of chaos. Quite a lot of drivers finding that wall of champions and wall of Stroll in latter part of the race, or wall of Russell, mistaking them for wall of champions most likely. But to everyone that has hit that wall, well, you're going to be a champion one day, if the prophecy is true. And the remainder P11 to P17 will remain the same. So Belyaev Steph 11th. So as we wait for race 2, I believe it's Artem Bielyavtsev. Bielyavtsev. I'm Slavic, I should know. Though further Eastern names can get a little bit tricky. Indeed, once we get to race 2, we will go to race 2 graphics. It is now 2:25 PM in game. Optimum time to race here in Canada. And how are you guys doing in the chat? Did you enjoy the carnage, the chaos, the drama, the amazing racing between a lot of these drivers that have been put on display? "17 drivers for race 2. One more driver joining. That is good to hear. Usually we see the reverse. We usually see drivers leaving at the end of race 1. Good to see it is the opposite of this time around. I've just seen the Automod Automod on the server that's been set up on Twitch. Apparently freeway is a sex-based term. Interesting. Automod on Twitch, thank you kindly. Automods. And we have a disconnect from Zipster. Leaving us with 18 drivers on the grid again. 16, sorry. And soon we should have the countdown. 30 seconds left. Let's move the microphone. So, race 2 predictions in the chat. You have 20 seconds to tell me who you think is going to win race 2. What will happen? Will we have any carnage? And as race 2 starts, we have 6 lights coming on. And 6 lights go off with Juan Gramage taking away in P1. A lot of wheel spin for the Spanish driver. Will that harm him in any sort of way? as we have drivers out of position barreling into turn 1. We have carnage already. Quite a lot of drivers finding themselves facing the wrong way. And a lot of drivers, ooh, a few more drivers into the wall. Johan Karocha capitalizing on that quite a lot, with Roland Justin making his way up again. Being stuck behind Artem Bielavtsev, who has very much capitalized on the chaos that happened in the start. And we see and it was in fact a red flag restart. Not surprising, that was quite a lot of drivers that were involved in that turn 2 collision. Let's get back onto the track. So, that's the drivers lineup once again. We have 1 minute left till lights go out again, and we will be taking a take number 2. Indeed, since the I'm not sure if it was the restart of the upgrade of the server that has now allowed Cyanide Racing Hub to be able to restart without having to restart an entire session, which is very good to see. And that's the problem. We had to cancel race 2 in round 1. I'm trying to think of the calendar. Was it Austria? Bahrain. Fantastic. Happy to see the server getting upgraded if needed for the quality you guys are providing. As we see 6 lights coming on, 5 lights on the track, and the lights will go out. Juan Gramaj gets a better exit this time, less wheel spin for the Spaniard, securing himself a good position for the track. And we see a little bit more nip and touch here, but way cleaner. Nobody facing the wrong way this time around. Drivers behaving as with Nicolas Shiren coming across the track. This will end in tears. For anybody else, not even for Nicolas, it was a... Ooh, we see Tuki Gonzalez take to the wall, being flung in as many different ways. That will be a race pretty much, well, not as much over as one could say for the IPK Arrows driver. It's less to do with the physics of Assetto Corsa, it's mostly to do with the way this track has been set up. And Zipstar right into Francesco Livraghi, recovering from a spin, driving right into the driver. Not something you really want to see, as Imran Shaikh now attacking Juan Gramaj. Through the chicane, Juan being barged out of the way. And the stream of cars going by the start-finish line as there, everyone within 1 second of one another. Roland, Victor Bernard and Eastbrand battling for the final points paying position. Eastbrand coming out on top this time around. Oh, we have a spinner from Nicolas Shiren. What happened there? Another driver that ended up in the Shadow Realm for one reason or another. Nicolas Shiren, one of the favorite drivers to do very well and take quite a lot of curb when it comes to roll adjusting, it seems, has been sent to the Shadow Realm. Nathan Older trying to defend against Johan Karolczak. Johan able to just squeeze on by. And Sean Fitzgerald promoting himself up to 5th place. Further down the grid we have Zipster in the ground. As Juan retakes P1. into the chicane, not leaving much space. Imran is forced to take a cut across the track. Sean Fisher plummeting down the order. Something must have happened to the American driver. Didn't quite catch that on the stream. It could be something to do with the incident involving Juan Gramash and Imran. Three drivers line astern. Who goes later on the brakes? Not later than the driver on the front. Insane reactions by all of the drivers involved. And as the standings say, Ollie Mobs is P1. In fact, he is not. He is stuck behind Victor Bernard. Victor Bernard in P6 position. Once the standings. Oh, and we have Ollie Mobs facing the wrong way. Ooh, little bit of a dangerous situation, and it's now Roland Justin's turn to retake the lead from Imran. Imran switching to the inside, putting his nose. Ooh, dangerous, and we see Imran car turned over. This could be a little bit of a dangerous situation. Luckily, most of the drivers able to make it by without much incident. But by God, that was a hefty incident. Good call on the admin team not to increase the damage from the original percentage. And Sean Fitzgerald back up to P8. Now on the back of Michał Szydlecki, trying to find a way. Really needed to pick a line through there, but you had fast charging Dutch driver behind you. Has put him under pressure. Well, a little bit of a neck code there, maybe, from Eastbrand Stopper with Sean Fitzgerald. Car jumping just slightly. See Francesco Livrangi trying to keep that P5. Juan Gramash trying to retake the spaces or the positions he lost since the start of the race down in P6. Victor Bernard, are we seeing it correctly? In fact, it seems to be Victor Bernard on to the back of Johan Korocek in 4th position. Last of the late breakers, Livrangi just makes the corner. How did he do that? That was quite the ballsy move, but he made it work, out-braking Juan and doing it within the track limits. Juan repaying the favor and attempting around the outside maneuver, or inside turning into a little bit of a space not left by the Italian driver. As we see Victor Bernard getting past his rival. And we see drivers Imran into the pits once again, and it's Sean Fitzgerald and Eastbrand Stopper most likely coming together and wiping out any progress they have made in the race thus far. Just not the weekend for the Dutch driver after such a stellar first race. Ooh, a little bit of contact between Michał and Francesco. The number of retirees rises now up to 4. Michał Szydlecki on the attack. No can do. Francesco taking a lot of curb, somehow keeping control of the car. And down the inside sends the pole on the Italian. Good move, very committed and very decisive maneuver from the pole. Driving for BMW Sauber. Indeed, we have noted that Victor has made his way past his longtime rival and is now 1 second up the road. This could be a battle that drones or drives. Goes on and on and on. It seems like any series these two are in, they are bound to fight one another, be it in Lead Pro Racing or Cyanide. And now a battle for P6 is evolving into a four-way fight. We have Eastman Stopper arriving on the scene, Sean Fitzgerald close behind. Here we see 5 cars line astern. Sean Fitzgerald is down on push to passes against the cars up ahead on him. Quite a disadvantage. You have to make it up in the corners, or pray his opponents make a mistake. And we are only halfway through the race, and by God have we had quite a lot of talking points already. Ollie Mobs really closing up onto the back of the Italian Francesco. Oh, little bit of a slide for the Italian driver. Almost collecting Isbrand Stopper. Not another point of contention that the Dutch driver wants. Ooh, that was very late on the brakes from the Francesco. Trying to recover it. Is unable to and takes out Sean Fisher. That was 100% on the Italian driver. Looking up his front wheels. Careening into the rear end of the Dutch driver. And he will be livid at the maneuver that has been done by the Italian driver. Sean will not be too much impressed either. He is once again an innocent bystander in the incident that has transpired, as Victor Bernard sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:19.028. And seems to be closing up to the top 3. He is now 1.5 seconds behind Nathan Older. Nathan Older will try and chase Roland Justin. Driver so far. Ooh, a little bit of a contact between Isbrand and Francesco. Isbrand, the good guy he is, will try and wait, but he cannot wait too long, for his rival Sean is arriving very quickly on the scene. It has given quite a lot of breathing room to Ollie Mobs, the driver in 7th place. And with Isbrand and Sean, I do predict that Livrani will be left behind by the 2 drivers up ahead, especially if they use very creative interpretation of track limits. Ollie Mobs using push to pass against Michał Siedlecki. Ooh, late on the brakes for Ollie Mobs, barely keeping it in control out the exit of the chicane. And we look at the timings, Nathan Older just maintaining the gap, or Roland Justin just maintaining the gap to Nathan Older, increasing by 0.2 on the last lap for the time being. But there could be a battle emerging on the last couple of laps. However, we do have to take into consideration that Roland has 3 more push to passes than Nathan Older. Currently 2 battles on the track. It's between Michał Siedlecki and Ollie Mobs for P6, and between Isbrand Stopper and Sean Fisher in P8. And it seems to be like Sean Fitzgerald exploits a mistake most likely committed by the Dutch driver. The Dutch driver has the pace, but just unable to gain the consistency to challenge for the position. His pace definitely shows late on the brakes for Ollie Mobs, much later than his counterpart. Sean Fitzgerald himself going by Isbrand Stopper. like we constantly keep seeing in this series, Eastbound Stopper is a quick driver. He is definitely on the pace of those up ahead in Roland Justin and Nathan Older. That through a mixture of unfortunate events and a little bit of consistency, he's just reaping the seeds sown by those unfortunate events. So let's stay on board with this battle, because I foresee quite a lengthy one indeed. Indeed, Isbrand is very mistake prone. Quick driver. If he can iron out the consistency, he will be a championship contender for sure, as he goes down the inside of Sean Fisher into the wall of championship gain. Sticks the move, but is now under attack from Sean Fisher, who saved the push to pass for the following straight. Gained by Isbrand again. And this is the kind of strategic battles that you have to think with these super formula cars. It's not as simple as let's just go here, DRS. Or like in Formula 1. Well, you have push to pass in Formula 1 technically, but blah 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 blah. In normal cars, it's not like you just make a pass and then you're golden. In cars with push to pass, you have to think when to deploy it, on when to deploy to attack, when to deploy to defense, as we have seen here. Eastbrand deployed it on the attack on the previous straight to get by Sean. Sean letting him by, sacrificing position to get better exit than Eastbrand, and then using his own push to pass to get on by once again. And will we see a repeat? And it seems like we will see the repeat. You can see on the standings the orange means push to pass is activated, and Eastbrand is moving by Sean Fitzgerald. And will Sean do the same? And it looks like Sean might actually be running less aero than Eastbrand. And that push to pass just barely giving him the speed to get on by the American driver. And as we drive on board these two, the top two have closed the gap substantially to one another. Roland Justin most likely making a mistake here and there, like we have seen. Mistakes in this close of a field get exploited very easily and are very costly. Nathan Older trying to scare Roland into making a mistake into the wall of champions, but Roland Justin, a veteran driver of Formula Supremes, is wiser to that. Roland Justin, little bit of a slide. Nathan giving that scare into Roland, a proper scare into turn one, forces Roland into a mistake and secures himself the first position. Further on back, Sean managed to get on by Eastbrand, both of the drivers choosing to save the push to passes. However, Roland, like we said before, is in a prime position. Strategically, he has more push to passes, twice the amount, so he can deploy them lap after lap after lap. And we are about 3 laps from the finish. A little bit of gamer subs, why not? Keep myself energetic throughout this encounter. Eastman falling back slightly from Sean Fitzgerald, but he will have to force Sean into using his push to passes. If I was Eastman, I would have deployed push to pass last round and forced Sean to deploy his as well. Otherwise, risk being left behind. And as we see, Isbrand deploys his, Sean deploys his in return. And this could be a stalemate even if Isbrand deployed it first. And we see the same thing with P1, P2, Nathan and Roland deploying both in unison. 2 more laps remaining indeed, so 2 more straight that these drivers will go on by. Roland Justin might have saved one too many push to passes. But he will have that extra push to pass against Nathan in the final lap. We can see Roland Justin deploying the push to pass against Nathan, but Nathan's so far up ahead he can save it for the last remaining lap. So Nathan might have just played a very good hand just by outdriving his opponent. And in fact, as we look at the times, 1:19, 1:10 remaining. Sean Fisher making his way by Michał Siedlecki. Siedlecki making a mistake somewhere, giving a toe to Isbrand. But is going to be put on such an awkward line through the chicane that will permit Sean to get away. 1.2 seconds, even with that extra push to pass. Not even extra push to pass, Sean Fisher was able to save that push to pass. And now has the similar advantage or similar situation to Isbrand. But Roland Justin on the final lap has one push to pass, but Nathan Oda, through his ability to drive around the entire racetrack, was able to pull away on last lap from Roland Justin, giving himself one final push to pass down the main straight. 2 more corners left. Wall of Champions avoided. Nathan Oda will come across to win race 2. It's a double. It's almost a full sweep for the British driver. 2 wins, pole position. Almost maximum points for the British driver. Roland just missing out on that top spot. Victor Bennett takes final podium, and Johan Karolczak, avoiding most of the carnage, able to secure 4th position. Juan Gramash will take home P5, is still a good showing for the Spanish driver, with Ollie Mobs taking P6. Sean Fitzgerald, after trials and tribulations alongside Isbrand Stopper, takes P7, P8 respectively. Siedlecki secures more points for BMW Sauber with P9, with Liv Raggi scoring 1 singular point at the end. Artem Bielavtsev, where he started, he will finish in P11, with Rinkan Shikimo coming home P12. Let's see what if the drivers are talking about in the race. Not much said, except from Ollie Mobs, who said, let's do it again. Somebody was definitely enjoying themselves.
Wanna do interviews?
We can do interviews indeed. Let's see who is willing to come and interview. If we can get Nathan Oder in for the race win. Let's bring in Roland Justin as a first interview. Roland, that was a one heck of a race. You put up quite a good fight against Nathan on the last lap.
I am so disappointed with myself, to be honest. I had every chance to get the win. And the way, like, I locked up when he passed me, so if I didn't lock up the rears and didn't half spin, I could have kept it there. And if I just held him up for a couple more laps, I could have had him. Especially with the 2 more push to pass,
Yeah,
I'm so frustrated with it.
it seems like you saved just a little bit too many push to passes, but that
No, I was counting on there being one more lap. That's the thing.
In-
It just came down to a couple of seconds.
indeed, it seems like Nathan just played the
Yeah.
hand of just keeping it under the limit and not extending
He
it
did
one
really
more.
well. Hats off to him.
Yeah, hats off to you, but hats off to you as well. That was a very
Thanks,
strong
thanks.
commanding drive throughout the race
Thank you.
and keeping it under control. So how was it out there for you?
It was pretty scary, to be honest. Just constantly checking how far he is behind me. It was quite an interesting race. I have never been in like a P1 position for this long. I've been around of times on podium positions, but this was something else.
And it seemed to have gone way, way better than race one has.
Yeah, race one, it was really unfortunate. Icebrand ahead of me just spun and I couldn't avoid him. Or like he hit the wall. And I was right behind him, he spun me around and then it caused a bit of a pile up. Got caught up in that. I recovered pretty well from there.
Indeed, and as we have seen on the stream, the walls here at this particular version of Montreal seem to be very, very deadly.
Yeah. That was my main goal, to just avoid hitting any of them. I mean, I had some minor road sets, but not any that sent me flying, luckily.
Indeed. Well, next round, I believe, is a community vote. So what are your
Yeah.
hopes after today's race 2 performance? And
It depends on the track, to be honest. There's a lot of choice that can be made there. I'm hoping for something that's pretty hard to overtake on, so I can just have a good quality and hold up everyone.
indeed, well, we are definitely looking forward to see what you can come up in the...
Maybe like a Hungaroring or something would be pretty nice.
Oh, definitely a home race for yourself, I would
Yeah,
assume.
that's the main issue, is the reason.
Indeed.
I
So
need to cook up a special livery if that's the case.
that will be very interesting. So Danny will probably let us know when the results of the community vote will be in. And until then, hope to see you in the next round, and well done for today's results.
Thank you. See you next time.
Take care of yourself, and let's bring in the two-time race winner here today, extending his championship lead even further, Nathan Older. That was a commanding and very dominating drive out here today in both races.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think the first race was a bit more straightforward. The second race was, yeah, quite eventful. Just trying to stay out of trouble and managed to find my way to the front. So yeah, 2 good races again, like last time.
Indeed. So I assume your hopes for the championship have grown quite a lot after the last 2 rounds, considering the lead you will have in the championship now.
Yeah, after the first wins last time out, I'm sort of thinking maybe I'm in with a shot, and after tonight, it definitely means, yeah, I've got a good chance now. I've just got to get my head down, put in the practice, and try and avoid incidents in those second races, the reverse grid ones.
So, are you hoping to carry this on to the rest of the season, with the next one being community vote?
Yeah, it depends what the track is, because obviously every driver has their preferences. So hopefully it's nothing too crazy. I'm not sure what options there are to choose from. Have the community already voted, or is it something that will take a while?
What are your hopes for the track to be picked up, where you feel you would be the strongest?
I personally like the fast sweeping, the Silverstone, Suzuka's, that kind of track. So like Kota last time out, it's flowing fast, that kind of thing. I'm not a lover of the stop-start, like the Red Bull Ring. I'm not a lover of that sort of track or street circuit, to be honest. Although I've done alright tonight, but yeah, something fast and
Yeah,
sweeping.
For somebody who does not like stop starts, it seems to have taken quite like fish to water here at Montreal, where most of the corners are stop start chicanes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm just getting to grips with the car really. The first time out in Bahrain, I was a bit lost on the setup. Didn't really put enough time into getting it right. So yeah, I put that right in Kota and Montreal now. So yeah, provided I put in the practice, I'm getting more comfortable in the car and learning it well.
Well, if you're still learning the car, I think the rest of the grid should be worried about what you can accomplish once you fully learn the car.
I don't know. I'm not that quick. I've met plenty of drivers faster than myself. So yeah, I think a bit of luck on my side, certainly in the second races. But yeah, the first race today, pole position, and yeah, just pulled away really. And I see Sean Fitzgerald got up to second, and then I was able to just sort of maintain the gap really. When he put a fast lap in, I just responded with my own, so it kept him away.
Indeed, and it has been a show of domination. Well, you are at the moment the man to beat, so we will definitely be looking forward to see what you can accomplish at round 4, whichever the track will be. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day.
And yeah, brilliant. Thanks, guys. It's been fun again. So yeah, see you next time out.
See you next time out, and let's bring in Johan Karolczak. Hello, Johan. After the trials and tribulations at Let Pro Racing yesterday, it seems like you have achieved more than what was shown in the qualifying session.
That's one thing. That's because the qualifying session wasn't very representative for me.
Indeed, the
Let's put it
practice,
that way.
definitely in the practice session, you have shown that you are able to fight for the top 2 spots.
If I take a look at the qualifying results, I think I could have slowed at P3. So that's something.
Indeed. And you have stolen P3 in race number 1 and just outside of the podium in the second race. So a good haul of points against some of the fastest drivers who have driven the Formula Supreme and have driven the Supremes for a long time.
I won't. It's not a secret. The midfield is very random at some times, especially the starts we've seen with the restarts. Restart. Maybe only one has been done. Okay, but we've seen how it is kind of random to be clipped or touched or whatever in the midfield in such a tight track. So I mean, it's like I felt like Moses when the Red Sea opened, when all the people crashed into the wall. I think turn 2, 3 and 4. So I'm happy. At the same time, I think P3 is in the first race is representative of the pace I had, but at the same time, it's a bit lucky to be able to correct my bad qualifying. Race 2, at first I went by Victor and made a mistake, and afterwards I've seen that it is a much better order because he had much more pace than I did. So yeah, basically just a no man's land between him and I think Juan behind.
Indeed, and it seems like whichever race you come across, if both of you are involved, it seems like both of you are destined to come across each other and exchange a few paintworks with one another.
This time it's a bit different given we are in the same team, so I don't really mind. I think he had a better pace at that one. I think he would have got me the first race if he hasn't got an encounter with the wall. Let's put it that way. Otherwise, for LPR, yeah, we are rival there. I think he's going to take the title, so it's not.
Indeed, we will.
I think it's
We
fairly
will
certain.
definitely have to do the maths
But
on
here we are joining forces, and I think none of us can match what Nathan is doing. So better maximize the points for the team.
Indeed. So join the two unlikely rivals coming together to fight a common enemy here, it seems.
That's the team, yeah.
Well, congratulations on the results for the team. A definitely strong race 2 for both of you. P3, P4 should give you quite the point haul from race 2. A shame about race 1 for what happened to Victor. Lap 2 just being completely wiped out.
Yeah, you can't brush the walls. You can't have a slight hit, but you cannot have anything above a slight hit. It's an Assetto Corsa problem. Every street track, almost every street track has some buggers wall contacts, either on the whole tail lap or in the single point that is very common for people to touch. Yeah, I fail to remember any correct good street track that doesn't have this problem with single seaters.
Well, considering the lack of good Montreal mods, I think there's a little bit of a market open. But
You could get one and fix it.
I could indeed, but that is a topic for another discussion. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us today, Johan, and we are looking forward to see what. Actually, one final question: what are you hoping the community vote result will be?
Um, I I really don't know. I don't know what people because last time we spoke on the text chat, uh, there was so many suggestions. There was no clear consensus for what people were going to go because everyone just gave multiple answers. So I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to vote because I love the Jada mod, but it's apparently not that computer friendly for most people. So that's a shame because it's a very challenging track for a driver. Maybe not for the race, but could work. But I'm definitely going to lean on a track like Mont-Tremblant or this kind of flowing track. Maybe I think a North American track. Maybe Virginia International Raceway. This
Well,
kind of track.
it would definitely be interesting to see races on those on any of those tracks, especially on Jeddah. But we will see in a week's time, I suppose, when results will be announced. Until then, thank you for joining us, Johan, and well done on the results today.
Thank you.
And let's bring in the final interviewee today, I believe, Francesco Livraghi. Points today, I believe, have been scored by yourself. So congratulations on might be your first points in the series, if I'm correct.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, this has been interesting race. I'm quite sad for the start before the restart because I had the best start of my life. I overtook like 2 or 3 cars before the turn one. But yeah, after a while after the restart, I found myself in P5, and yeah, I hoped that I could remain with that position, but I didn't quite have the pace. So yeah, I'm happy with the P10, even though I got hit 1 or 2 times. But yeah, after the disaster in Bahrain, P10 is more than enough.
Indeed, and it seems that from Bahrain you have gone quite a bit in terms of your pace and a little bit of racecraft, even pulling out some quite good maneuvers into the wall of champion chicanes, but not completely incident-free on your behalf. I think a few incidents were as a result of being a little bit too ambitious, one might say.
Yeah, because I didn't have much to lose. I pushed myself to the limit to get the position, and since I'm not going to do the rest of the championship, I said, "Fuck it, let's do it." Yeah, sorry for the one who got hit. Yeah, I got hit as well, but it's a race incident I couldn't have avoided.
Indeed, but that will be up to stewards to decide. Apart from
Yeah,
that, a lot of drivers were complaining about this mod, and you said partake in the rest of the championship, or are you going to grace us with your presence for a few more rounds?
No, I won't be racing here anymore because I will be racing in an Italian championship, official Italian championship. So I'll have to focus on that because I'm still slow here. So I don't want to imagine how slow I'll be there. But since the prize is a race car test with a real race car, I want to win there. I really have to put all my efforts in there. So I'm also searching right now a coach to improve quickly. And so yeah, even though I love this car, I have to focus on the other one.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in that championship, and there's plenty of fast drivers out here. You could poke around to see if they would be willing to. But as for now, congratulations on your first points in the championship. We hope to see you back if you ever get the chance. And
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll be back if I can. Once I finish the championship, I'll be back for sure because this is really fun. You do, the guys here do an amazing job, both drivers and organizer. So I will be back. Yes.
well, we are definitely awaiting your return. But for the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. And I believe that is everybody that wants to be interviewed, unless somebody else in the chat has said otherwise. But I don't believe so.
Sorry, did we get the Roland Justin?
We
I
did.
believe
We did do Roland Justin. That's the first person to be interviewed.
All right. Yep. I believe that's all.
Indeed. So, ending notes. A great race here today. It has shown quite a lot of incidents that have transpired here at Canada, at Montreal. Thank you to all the drivers that have partaken. Thank you to all the viewers, and thank you to Cyanide Racing Center admin team. Both of them have put on a great server and great event for everyone, and their contribution with the graphics is just phenomenal with the presentation. But a lot of talking will be after this race, and look out to see what Cyanide will be racing in 2 weeks' time, whenever the admins release the results of the vote. Until then, it's been Mateusz. Make sure to follow Cyanide Twitch channel. Let's help these guys get to Twitch affiliate. Join us with Let Pro Racing next weekend as well. I got to do a little bit plug for my own as well. So definitely follow Cyanide Twitch. Help them get to the affiliate quickly, and enjoy the rest of your day. In 2 weeks' time. Bye bye.